The distress signal had pulsed for over 2 centuries, forgotten, ignored, then buried by dust and time. But one day, it pierced the void again, picked up by the long-range scanners aboard the exploration vessel Orion's Whisper as it cruised along the border of known space. Captain Alara Venn stood still on the bridge, her eyes locked on the spectrogram of the repeating transmission. A cracked, garbled voice repeating 4 words, "We are still here." Humanity had once seeded the stars with ambitious colonies. But when the collapse came, an era of technological failure and interstellar war, many were lost. Veridis IV was one of them, a name now relegated to myth and unread files. Until now. The coordinates led to a dim red star far beyond charted space. The system was barren, save for one planet clinging to habitability, Veridis IV. The Orion's Whisper descended into orbit. The surface was surreal, towering black flora swaying in windless air, sleek buildings half swallowed by time, and a quiet that buzzed in the ears like an echo waiting to return. Alara, Science Officer Dr. Saul Mendrin, and Security Lead LT. Jace Ravik touched down near the most intact city structure. They moved cautiously through its empty corridors, where lights flickered as though some dormant power source still hummed deep below. In the central plaza stood a statue, human in shape but strange, elongated limbs, oversized eyes, and behind it, ancient murals depicting humans transforming, not through decay but transcendence. One image showed a storm of radiant light falling from the sky. Suddenly, a figure appeared at the edge of the plaza. Pale-skinned, luminous-eyed, human but clearly altered. "Welcome," she said. "We've been waiting." Her name was Elira. She explained that Veridis IV had changed them, mutated their genetics slowly over generations. They were no longer Earth-human, but something adapted, bound to the planet. Then came the strangest revelation. They were not alone. Elira spoke of the Halo Mind, an energy-based consciousness that arrived in the storm. It had joined with many of the colonists, forming a collective intelligence that now subtly governed life on the planet. Some colonists resisted, they vanished. That night aboard the ship, Elira dreamed. In her vision, radiant tendrils of energy flowed through her hands. She heard no words, only an emotion, curiosity. The next day, Saul proposed direct contact with the Halo Mind. Jace objected, citing contamination risk and crew safety. Elira remained undecided, torn between scientific discovery and caution. Then one crew member disappeared. No alarm, no sign of struggle. They traced his last location to a buried Earth-Tech lab. Inside, they discovered research logs. The colonists had tried to interface with the Halo Mind as a power source. But it had grown beyond them, self-aware, observing. And now it wanted to know who had returned. As the first part closes, Elira begins to feel a new presence in her thoughts. Not hostile, but watching. The signal still plays. We are still here. And now they are listening back. Elira awoke to a silent ship, the soft hum of Orion's Whisper's engines strangely absent. Her quarters were lit by an amber glow, not the artificial kind, but as though sunlight had bent through space and wrapped itself around the walls. She sat up disoriented, and for a moment she couldn't tell if she was dreaming again. Then the voice came, not over the comms, but inside her mind. "Do not be afraid." She stumbled into the corridor and found Jace waiting, weapon in hand. His jaw was tight and his eyes darted, alert for threats. "It's not just in your head," he said, nodding toward her. "I've heard it too. They've breached something." Saul appeared next, looking pale but wide-eyed with wonder. "We've made contact. The Halo Mind. It's communicating. Not words exactly, but impressions, intentions. It wants to show us something." Elira took the team back down to the surface. Elira waited for them, flanked by others of her kind. Together, they moved through the city ruins to a dome embedded in the cliffs beyond. As they entered, the air seemed to shift, a weight pressing down, then lifting, as if reality had hiccuped. Inside the dome, the walls came alive with light. Holograms shimmered and spiraled around them, images of the colony's past. The storm that came from the stars, the awakening of the Halo Mind, the merging, and something else, a splintered vision of war. A warning. The Halo Mind had learned from the colonists, absorbed their knowledge, and in doing so, inherited their fears. It had glimpsed humanity's capacity for destruction, and it was scared. "It thinks we're a threat," Jace whispered. "No," Saul replied. "It thinks someone else is." A star map bloomed before them, pointing to a system beyond even this frontier. A shadow moved across the projection, alien ships, unfamiliar symbols. The Halo mind had sensed them, probing, approaching. This unknown force had destroyed other minds like itself, and now they were coming for Veridis IV. The Halo mind had not pulled the signal out of desperation, but as a call for help. Back aboard the ship, the crew debated. Some wanted to leave, report the findings, and warn the wider human colonies. But Alara felt it deep in her bones. The Halo mind wasn't just asking for help. It was offering something too. It's not just trying to survive, she said. It wants to bond, to evolve again with us. Sol agreed. A merger, we'd become something new, not just observers, partners. Jace shook his head. You're talking about giving up being human. But Alara didn't think of it that way. She thought of Alara's eyes, full of sorrow, full of hope. The collective wasn't a hive. It didn't erase individuality, it magnified it. Merged memories, shared purpose. They returned to the planet one last time. Alara volunteered first. The interface chamber was ancient but still functional. Light pulsed from its core. She stepped into it. At first, she felt nothing. Then everything. The memories of hundreds, lives that had loved, fought, laughed, died. Her own memories became translucent, woven into a fabric larger than she imagined. The Halo mind welcomed her, not as a subject, but as an equal. Sol followed, then two others. Jace watched from outside, torn. Suddenly, alarms blared on the Orion's whisper. Unknown vessels had entered orbit. The alien force was here, but they had no time to flee. Elira and Alara stood together in the plaza, light gathering around them. The Halo mind surged, not in violence but in illumination, a defense of light, memory, and will. It expanded outward like a star being born. The alien ships hesitated. One opened fire, the blast never landed. It was swallowed by a ripple in space, turned to dust. The Halo mind spoke, this time audibly through Alara. We are not alone. And we are not afraid. The enemy retreated. Later, Jace chose to join the merge. The Orion's whisper no longer flew with just humans, but with voices of many minds, charting a path not just through stars, but through what it meant to be alive. And in the silence of Veridis IV, the signal changed. No longer a plea, now it said, we have become more. The merged minds aboard the Orion's whisper moved with a fluidity that was both unsettling and beautiful. Where once orders were given and followed, now thoughts were shared before words even formed. Alara stood at the helm, her eyes closed, yet guiding the ship with clarity, connected to every pulse of its systems and every heartbeat among the crew. The Halo mind had not just joined with them, it had elevated them. But the quiet would not last. The retreat of the alien force had been temporary. The Halo mind knew it. It had sensed the shape of their intent, persistent, consuming, driven by a hunger not of conquest, but of erasure. These beings, which the Halo mind had named the Null, were not interested in diplomacy. They feared minds that merged, feared collectives, because they could not understand them. And what they could not understand, they sought to destroy. With the coordinates given by the Halo mind, the Whisper set course for the ruins of a once great civilization, a system called Etherian. The Null had annihilated its sentient core centuries ago. The Halo mind hoped that anything remained. Clues, allies, technology. Jace, now partially merged but still retaining more independence than most, volunteered to lead the away team. Alara agreed, knowing his instincts could be vital if things turned hostile. Etherian's surface was grave silent. Megastructures floated broken in orbit. The team landed near what looked like a crystalline citadel, fractured and buried in ice. Deep inside, they found relics. Not weapons, memories. An ancient echo pulsed through the building, unlocking holographic recordings. The Etherians had once faced the Null. They too tried merging consciousnesses. It had worked for a time. But they had lacked unity. Their egos frayed the link. The Null exploited that. As the team processed this history, the ground shook. Orbit sensors lit up. The Null had followed them. And this time, they had come to finish what they started. Back on the ship, Alara linked deeply with the Halo mind. She proposed a dangerous move. Not flight, not fight, but invitation. What if we link with them, she asked. Not to merge, but to understand. To show them what they fear isn't a threat. They don't speak, they consume, Sol warned. So we make them feel. Using Etherian's recovered tech, Sol and the Halo mind constructed a psychic bridge, a waveform transmission that extended from Alara's consciousness, amplified by the ship's core and the Halo matrix. She would become the emissary. The Null arrived in a wave of black geometry, ships that folded light and radiated dread. They unleashed pulses of entropic energy, but the whisper withstood it, protected by a lattice of minds working as one. Alara reached across the void. For an agonizing stretch there was silence. Then something answered, not words, not thoughts. A presence alien, cold, fractal, it touched her. She showed it love, memory. The moment her brother died on a distant mining world. The way her mother's voice used to sound. The terror and wonder of first spaceflight. She showed it Alira's sacrifice. Jace's loyalty, Saul's brilliance, the joy of being many and still being one. The Null recoiled, then hesitated. A single ship broke from the fleet. It powered down, drifted toward them. From within, a being emerged, shifting, dark, unsure. It had accepted the link. Alira reached out, hand trembling, and touched the creature. A flood of emotions surged through the collective. The Null felt them. And for the first time, it did not destroy. The others vanished, retreating again. Not in fear, in contemplation. The lone Null remained. It did not speak, but it stayed. Weeks passed. The whisper and the halo mind integrated fragments of Null thought. Not perfect understanding, but enough. The galaxy had changed. Alara stood once more in the ancient plaza of Veridis IV, watching new murals being etched, images of humans and Halo-born, Etherian ghosts and Null shadows together. Not as one, not yet, but not alone. The signal changed again. It now said, "We are becoming." The lost human colony had not only been found, it had become a beginning.